this last week, so hopefully we don't have any
Okay.
issues. If not, I'll just have to figure something out. My program hasn't been playing very nice with Amazon.
Oh, no.
But here, it's working, so we're going. All right. Hey, Amazon, welcome back. Today I'm going to be interviewing Priscilla Oliveras. I'm so excited to interview her and bring her awesome books to you today. So if you are new to her, definitely hit that follow button here on Amazon and follow her as an author, because she has some amazing books that you're going to love. If you love romantic, contemporary comedies, I'd say they're funny. I'd say they're steamy. They're perfect. We're going to talk about these. And so welcome, Priscilla. It's so lovely to have you today.
Hi, thanks for the invite to join you. I'm excited to chat.
You're so welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself as an author.
Sure. I write contemporary, kind of like what you just said. I write contemporary romance with a Latinx flavor. I come from a blended family. My papi's Mexican American from San Antonio, Texas. My mom's from Puerto Rico, and so most of my novels I tend to write series. There's like one main family, so one main familia, and a Latinx familia, and each of the books are all standalone. So you can pick up any book, and you'll have a complete, satisfying romance read, but you'll also get to meet whatever the main family is in each of the series.
Where is your family from in Puerto Rico?
My mom is from, like, my abuela's home is in Bayamon, and that's where my tío and his wife live now. We have family kind of spread throughout,
Yeah.
but when I go home and I'm staying at my abuela's house, it's in Bayamon.
So I lived there for 3 years in Bayamon.
You did? Oh my gosh.
I love that area, Guanabo, Bayamon area. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Were you were working or in college or what?
My husband was stationed at Fort Buchanan.
Okay.
Yep.
That's how my mom and dad met. Papi was born and raised in San Antonio, where the Queens of Mariachi series is set.
Yep.
But he was in the Navy and he was stationed. I don't know if it was Fort Buchanan or not. I
Roosevelt Roads?
don't. I'm sorry.
Roosevelt Roads?
Maybe. Yeah, because I know that there are multiple bases, but I'm not sure exactly which one. But so he was stationed over there, and that's how he met my mom. And they met, got married, and 54 years later.
I heard a podcast that you did, and that's why I had to have you on the show. The love story of your family and the blended Latin. I just loved it. I love the podcast, so I was like, oh, I got to have her on and talk about these amazing books. So,
Thanks.
I would guess maybe he was stationed at Roosevelt Roads because that's the naval base over there. It's beautiful there. It's so stunning. Sometimes we would just drive around just because it was just amazing. The cliffs and the iguanas were huge. Over there in that area, they were like crocodile size, like huge.
They're big. I mean, the whole island, there's so many, whether you want to see the mountains, whether you want the
Yep.
beach, whether you want, right, the rainforest. There's so much to explore and just to enjoy in Puerto Rico.
I was trying to explain, my daughter was doing a report for school, and she picked Puerto Rico because she knew I lived there. And she's like, Mom, tell me everything about Puerto Rico. And I was like, the frog. We'll talk about the coqui frogs.
The coqui, yeah, the coqui. Oh my gosh, the coqui, the sound of the coqui was like the bedtime music of my
That's
childhood.
the noise you'll ever have.
Yeah, it's I mean, I remember falling asleep at night, my sister and I, sharing a bed, and I would close my eyes and I was still like my body felt like I was still like on a raft, like on an inner tube at the beach, like in the ocean, and the coquis are singing. I mean, right now there are a lot of people still trying to recover, from Ian. That's been really hard. Gosh, the island's been beaten up. So I guess I do want to say, if there's any way anyone out there can help, and whether it's volunteering over there, whether it's donating funds. There are a lot of people. I'm also here in Florida, so a lot of people in the Southwest, Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. This hurricane season's been pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's kind of just beginning.
We're like, it's we got to make it through the end of November. Growing up in Key West, I remember what going through, like, I read my first adult romance novel in a hurricane shelter in the Keys when I was in high school.
Oh.
We're used to hurricanes, but they can really pack a wallop.
They really can. I grew up in Tornado Alley most of my childhood. Ooh. So tornadoes are a thing here, pretty normal to us. And then when I moved to Puerto Rico, this Midwest kid living in Puerto Rico, And I was like 18. Of course, when a hurricane came, that's when we're like, I mean, I was just like, what do we do?
Yeah. Well,
What
and I
are
will
we
say
supposed to do?
on the island, you're stuck there. Like here in Florida, we can evacuate, get in your car. You might be stuck in traffic for a while, but I would take not that I want any of them, right? But a hurricane, you get warning, so you can if you can evacuate. Like here in Florida, you can pack up the things that you really don't want
Yeah,
to lose. Whereas a tornado,
yeah.
or gosh, an earthquake, those like without warning. So I think Mother Nature,
You do
the
not
wrath of
get
Mary.
warnings. In fact, we've been in bed asleep and wake up to that siren, and there's nothing like making you move real quick from 0 to 60.
Yes, yes. Well, my papi was stationed. He met my mom in Puerto Rico, but we lived in Homestead. We lived so another hurricane, down in Florida. But we also were stationed in Corpus Christi and San Angelo. And so we're used to, I remember being in San Angelo and like a hurricane, I mean, not a hurricane, the tornado, either the siren would go off or on the TV, they would have that this is a test, just, kind of like, what would you do if it was a real thing? So I grew up, and I think a mix of those.
Yeah. I think we all have our things. Like tornadoes don't scare me as much. Hurricanes, though, yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean, I think it's just the wind, the flooding, everything. And that's what, like right now, Ian wasn't, it wasn't huge when it hit Puerto Rico, but it like slowed down and it just kept, the rain kept, so it was a lot of the flooding
yeah.
that people, especially like in Ponce in the southwestern part of the island, are dealing with. But I mean, we're prayerful and we're hopeful that people start
Yeah.
getting the help that they need. And when it is okay, if you can go visit the island,
Yep.
Puerto Rico, just so much beauty to offer, and the people are wonderful.
I don't know any place that you can go around the whole island in what, 8 hours and see so
No.
many amazing things, and then take like an hour and a half drive up into the mountains. You just transform worlds.
Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah. It's a beautiful island.
You know that drive back down from Caguas that is like, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh gosh. So
Yeah.
so you were 3 years in Puerto Rico.
Hmm. Yep.
Have you ever visited San Antonio?
No, I have not.
Whoa.
So it's on my list.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. I love whenever that's where Papi was born and raised. And that's why when I got the idea about to write about it, All Sisters in an all female mariachi band, I knew it would be set in San Antonio because that's where Texas, predominantly San Antonio, is where most of the great memories that I have, like when we have family reunions, they're either around San Antonio or we wind up in San Antonio. So it's the city I know and love the most. And writing both of the books, West Side Love Story and Kiss Me Catalina. But West Side is West Side Love Story is set. It's all in San Antonio, and so there are little Easter eggs of places that hold meaning to my familia. Hopefully, places that locals who are there, living there or who have grown up there, can recognize those places. And if you've never been, then I hope that reading West Side Love Story and meeting the Capuleta sisters, spending more time with them in Kiss Me Catalina will entice you to make a trip to San Antonio.
Yes. Well, it's definitely on my list. Where did your love of reading and writing begin?
Oh my gosh. I think, well, first reading. I mean, my parents tell the story about the summer between like either first and second or second and third grade. There was a reading competition. And I won for like reading the most books over the summer. Now, mind you, those were probably not chapter books, right? At that age, or not very long chapters. But so I was always a reader first. In high school, my favorite subject was English. Gosh, I had just amazing teachers. I remember freshman year honors lit and reading for the first, like A Tale of Two Cities, and that was my first really experience with Shakespeare. So all through high school, every year we had a Shakespeare unit, that so every year I got to dive into Shakespeare, and I just the symbolism and all of that, and then probably writing the first time that I can remember having like written like a short story, and really really diving into that. It was, I think it was like 11th grade, 10th or 11th grade. Miss Wilbur was my English teacher, and we had a short stories like unit. And she was the first person that I can remember asking, like, have you thought about doing something with writing or majoring in English or journalism, or something with writing? And she kind of planted that little seed that just started to grow from there.
I love the positivity when teachers plant like those good seeds. Like, did you know you can do this? And
Yeah,
like, wait, that's a job? I could actually do that as a job?
yeah,
I saw a
yeah.
quote on TikTok, I think, sometime this week, and it said something like, you can plan to clean your house in a month, or you can plan to clean your house in 3 hours. Either way, your house is going to get cleaned in whatever time frame you choose. And I thought that's the thing with
Mm.
writing. You can
Yeah,
choose to write a book, or you can choose to not write a book. And you can choose
right,
what, if you're going to write one book, you're going to write 3 books. It's really just a choice to do it. And I think
right.
kids need to know they can do it. And I love teachers
Mhm.
that really instill that
Right.
positivity and kind of give the green light.
Yeah, either the little nudge, or just that voice that maybe they can recall, at different, yeah. So teaching is a powerful,
It's so
powerful profession. Hmm.
our teachers really do hold a lot of power in their kids' futures by planting seeds and planting good ones so they can harvest
Yeah,
later. So
yeah.
you write a lot about feuding families and bonds of family. What is your family like in comparison to this? Because I know you said on a podcast you just explained it, like the over 50-year marriage, and it's just so dreamy. So tell us a little bit about your own familia.
Sure, sure. Well, yeah. So like the over 54 years, that's mommy and papi. That's my mom and dad. And I'll say they have a healthy relationship, right? There are ups and downs. They don't always get along, but they love each other, like in actions and words, and that love has spread like through, to my older sister. I have a younger brother. Our familia is really close. Our extended familia, as well. I think mommy and papi are probably, I like to say, at the heart of every hero and heroine. In my book, I write male female romance. At the heart of their relationship, of their healthy relationship, is more than likely the example that my parents have set. And I know so I write about a lot of familia themes. I mean, I'm not there. I haven't had any, like, nobody's blowing up the world, and we're not going to say, save the country, or anything. It's not like a suspensey, or it's really, I write about families that could live in your neighborhood, that could be at your church, or that could be in the PTA with you. They're facing like real life situations, in for them and for within their community. For me, I write series because as a reader, I enjoy reading a series. Like, even if I come to a series book 3, if it's well done, then in that book, I'm going to have a satisfying read with that main couple, but I'm also going to get to meet the secondary characters. And if I've jumped in mid-series, then I want to go back to the beginning, right? And find out how those other couples got together. But if I've been there from the beginning, then by the time I get to book 3, when the couple from book 1 comes in, and it's whatever, a year later, 4 years later, whatever the time frame is, I feel like I get to touch base with old friends, right? And see,
Yeah.
oh, look, they're married now, or whoa, they have a baby, or oh, she got that job, whatever it is, right? That from the first book. And so with I try to do the same with my series one, because the characters for me become like real people. They become like family, and I want to spend more time with them. And two, my hope is that I can give readers the same experience that I've gotten as a reader of someone else's series, where I feel like I'm meeting new friends, and I'm spending time with families. And for with my books, if you're Latinx, I know that the Latinx umbrella is huge, and there are differences among us, like from country to country. We have similarities, but there are differences. But my hope is, if you're Latinx or Latine, and you read one of my novels, you feel like you connected a little bit with part of our culture.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then I hope you enjoy that extra thread, that, you can finish with a little bit of more of an appreciation for the Latin culture.
I love it. I love it so much. What are you currently working on?
I am writing a book. It's not in this series. It's a new series. All I can really say, it is partially set in Puerto Rico, and it's partially set in New York City.
Oh my gosh, count me in.
So I got to go in February. I was back on the island in Puerto Rico, visiting familia and seeing a beloved tia, and doing research, for this book. And then it kind of got set aside as I had releases and travel and some family stuff. But so I'm diving in now, and working on that.
I love it. I love reading books. There's not a lot of books that take place in Puerto Rico, I found.
Mhm.
There really isn't. And I love the culture there. I really fully immersed into it because at the time I lived in Puerto Rico, there was not a lot of well, everybody's American there, but from the States living there. So
Okay.
English speaking people from the States. But so I really had a choice. I could be alone or I could immerse myself into the culture, learn the language, and live as a Puerto Rican. And I
Nice.
did that. And so that my neighbor did not speak any English. I did not speak any Spanish. And we
Oh.
became good friends. And I would show her how to make like casseroles, which she hated. She hated them. She was like, this is disgusting. And I'm like, okay. And then the only thing she liked that I made was pumpkin bread.
Ooh, yum.
She would teach me how to make tostones and rice and beans, and I mean, it was just amazing. We just kind of swapped cultures, and we barely communicated. This is before Google Translate, so
Oh gosh, yeah. What
we
I think now, like, what I remember as a kid going out, like leaving, like to go out with friends, and my mom would be like, do you have a quarter? Because if you need to call home, you can go to go to a payphone, because this was pre cell phones. I'm
yep,
totally dating myself right now.
yep,
But now my kids would be like, a quarter, mom? What's a quarter gonna? Now it's, do you have your phone charger?
yes, yes. This
you
was
know.
pre-cell phone era when I lived there.
Uh,
20 years since I've been.
but you can still communicate, right? I lived in Okinawa. My
Mhm.
my ex was in the military, and so
Yep,
we lived in Okinawa for 5 years, and I taught ESL to like some college students and younger students, like at home, not through a company, but just like one-on-one or in small groups. And the Okinawan people were super friendly, and so you could, like you said, you could stay on the base and just experience, like what the base had to offer, which our military facilities, the MWR, they offer a lot.
yep.
But when you're in another country, to take advantage of that opportunity to learn the culture, to try to speak the language, to make
Mhm.
friends, it's a wonderful opportunity
So
to kind of
amazing.
expand what our little box of what we're used to, and get an appreciation for others.
Yep. I highly recommend. I think that's what one of the things that fueled me as a writer as well is I love building worlds and families, and I really love studying and watching how other people live and how what do they do in their family? What are some of their
Yeah.
traditions and their family dynamics? And I love cultures and just I don't
Mhm.
know. I miss that about the military is being able to travel and see all the different places. So amazing.
Oh yeah.
So you're working on something fun, something super cool and exciting. So like I said earlier, make sure you guys are following Priscilla here on Amazon so when she does release something, you won't miss out on it. Amazon is really good about sending an email out when she has a new release coming up so that you guys can pre-order it or grab it. And so Kiss Me Catalina is actually up for pre-order right now. Um,
It is.
thankfully, got my hands on a copy. Thank you so much. And you guys, this book everybody's gonna be talking about this book and you're gonna wish you had it. So pre-order it today. You can grab it for $3.99 on Kindle. You can grab it for $12.95. Pre-order the paperback, which is a great deal, or grab it on Audible. So there's 3 different ways you can grab both of these books here. and get started reading today, I would recommend getting started with this one so that you're ready to go with this one. November 1st, right?
Yes,
Yep.
no, it's November 1st. So all three of them are print, audio, or digital.
Yep.
Carla Serrato did the audio narration, and she does a wonderful job bringing the sisters, the Capuleta sisters, and all of the characters to life. If you hadn't guessed already by the titles, if you're a Shakespeare fan or a fan of musicals based off of Shakespeare plays, then both of the books, West Side Love Story and Kiss Me Catalina, I don't like to say retellings. I prefer to say reimaginings,
Yeah.
right? Because I kind of take, as a fan of Shakespeare, I kind of wanted to challenge myself to see, okay, how could I like pay homage and to this original story that I love, but what could I twist and change and tweak and ask that what if question that's really important for authors when we're brainstorming. What if this or what if that instead, and kind of reimagine and my version of these Shakespeare of Taming of the Shrew is Kiss Me Catalina, and West Side Love Story is obviously Romeo and Juliet, but it revolves around the Capuleta familia, 9 sisters who were through the foster system adopted by one couple, Arturo and Berta, who are actually named after my papi's parents, so my grandparents from San Antonio, Arthur and Bertha. And the sisters have formed an all-female mariachi band. So in book 1, they enter the battle of the mariachi bands, hoping to win to earn some money to help their parents save their community center. There's gentrification going on the west side of San Antonio. And then in Kiss Me Catalina, the second oldest sister, Kat, is fiery and ambitious and super talented. And she signs a contract with Padua Records, the record label for Patricio Galan, who is an internationally known Grammy-winning mariachi idol and the son of an even bigger idol. So he's like mariachi royalty. Kat signs a contract with his record label and goes on tour with him to do a set in his concert, and to help him write his music. So it's a concert tour road trip romance.
Love it. Love it so much. What are you currently reading right now?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you. Well, today is do I have it around here? Today, I would like to say is release day for Adriana Reyes, On the Hustle. Super, super steamy, just a fun book to get lost in. So I would highly recommend that. This one is out already. It is Big Chicas Don't Cry by Annette Chavez Macias. It's women's fiction with strong romantic elements. It's a beautiful story. And if you're looking for a YA romance, I would highly recommend this by Susan Lee. It's Soulmates. It's her YA romance new release. It came out in September. So these are 3 that I'm reading right now, and getting ready for the holidays. I have one other one that I arrived. I have not started reading it yet. It's a good friend of mine, Michelle Eris. This one right here. Yeah, it's a cute cover, super cute, Above the Mistletoe. So I haven't started reading it yet. I'm ready to dive in, but I would recommend any of those, or really any books by any of those authors as well.
I saw one of the books you recommended to me was After Hours on Milagro Street.
Yes, I might have that around here.
Oh, I have that, and I just interviewed Angelina. And
Oh, yay!
That book was so good.
Yes. I mean, I will tell you, if you're, I think, I mean, Kat for me is probably the feistiest
Yeah.
heroine I've ever written. At first, she kind of intimidated me, like trying to crawl inside her head. Really, to get myself started, I jokingly, but maybe not so much jokingly, just told myself, okay, what would Priscilla do? No, Kat's going to do the opposite. Let's go. So Kat is feisty, but Angelina's heroine from the get-go, I was like, she is
I think she's the feistiest I've ever seen in a book, and I was here for it. Unapologetically strong.
Yeah.
And strong heroines are in right now. That trope is just
Right.
fire. And
She's strong, but yet she loves her family. She is right. She's committed. She's protective of those that need. She will fight for the underdog. Angelina is the heroine. Her name is just it escapes me. I'm like, darn, I should have
I,
reached for her, but
I know
it's
mine's across the hall, but I know I love her heroine in that. But what
yeah.
I also love too was the Kansas history because that's where my husband's from. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
we bonded over that. She actually grew up not far from me, and we just
Wow.
couldn't believe the weird coincidences, and
Yeah.
it was just so great. And so she's just phenomenal too. So if you guys haven't ever read anything by Angelina,
Yeah.
After Hours on Milagro Street is just a great place to get
Yeah.
started.
Yeah. I feel like I need to bend down and so I can flash her
Well,
cover.
I have it. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen here. So,
Oh, okay, good.
but
Okay, good.
Angelina,
Yeah.
like I don't feel like enough people talk about that book. It does not get the playtime it deserves. It's one of those hidden gems that
Yeah.
I have been making so many TikToks and so many things about it because I'm like, this book
Nice.
I still think about. Um,
Yeah.
the twist in the end of that was so unexpected. I was like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Well, and I think like you said, she does a good job. The romance, is so swoony, and the characters themselves are like the leads, especially are ones you just have to root for.
yeah.
And at the same time, she weaves in like cultural history and like history to the area she grew up there. Like, so she's just basically writing about her family's history and but you don't feel like you're getting a history lesson, right?
Oh
It
no, it was so good. I love learning though when I read. I love having to stop and look things up, or if they talk about a food or a place, I'm like, I gotta see what this looks like in real life.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good.
So yeah,
Good.
that's a great
So,
one to check out too. So
mhm.
circling back to yours, you have. So I had one question.
Sure.
So when you write, what is your favorite trope of all times?
Oh gosh. Okay, that's probably a tie between friends to lovers or second chance romance.
Ooh,
And I feel like both of them are kind of for different reasons. Like friends to lovers, I wrote my first friends to lovers was Rosa and Jeremy, Her Perfect Affair,
yeah.
and that whole for me there's another layer like layer of angst because they have a good thing right as friends do they and what if they cross that line and it blows up or it doesn't work out and then they lose their friendship, so that whole will they won't they and then oh my gosh they did like what now like and that they did whether it's a kiss and then that just keeps so that tension keeps rising. With second chance romance, I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword for them because they know how good it can be when they're good, but then they know how bad it can be when things go south. And with that, I think it's important that the character arc is almost a little bit more important than normal because your reader has to believe just like the characters have to know that they have grown and changed, that they're not in the same place that they were in the past, because if they are, even though you end the book with at a happy moment, is the reader going to believe like, oh, they've changed enough that yeah they're good now, or oh gosh they're going to break up again because they're still doing whatever it was that they were doing in the past, so I think both of those are, I love reading and writing.
I love that. What advice would you have for an aspiring author?
Oh my goodness. Okay, probably threefold. One, read in whatever genre, right? I mean, read widely, but whatever genre. If it's romance, then what specific subgenre in romance? If it's cozy mystery, if it's women's fiction, read in your genre so that as a reader what you enjoy. And then I would say start honing your craft. You don't necessarily, I'm not telling you necessarily go like start paying for classes, but there are a lot of free resources online. There are free books. There are writers groups that you can join. There are Facebook groups. So start honing your craft and networking, and then really sit down and write. Even if you think it sucks, Let me tell you, my first book didn't sell because it's bad for a whole bunch of reasons, but it was a learning experience. And I truly believe I was a little bit better by the next one and a little bit better by the next one. I was doing all of those things, trying to learn about craft, networking, and building, my author community, so that we could learn and grow together and then read.
That is phenomenal advice. That's probably one of the best pieces of advices that I have had from an author when I asked that question. So that's phenomenal. Where else can we find you and support you online?
Oh gosh, thank you. Well, obviously here on Amazon, if you all follows are greatly appreciated. I am on social media probably way more than I should be. So I'm on Instagram and Twitter. I've kind of dipped my toe in TikTok. I might be up to like a full foot right now. My whole foot might be in TikTok. I'm still trying to figure that out. But my handle across all of them, and I have an author page on Facebook, is all the same. It's Pris, Oliveras, and that's Oliver A.S. There are a bunch of ways to misspell Priscilla, so I've just stuck with Pris. So at Pris Oliveras, you can find me on any of those, whichever one you prefer, or all of them. I happen to pop in off and on.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Everybody, grab these 2 books. You will not be sorry. These are phenomenal books to read this season. Check them out if you love strong family books and just the steamy, swoony romance. You're going to love it. So thank you so much for joining me today, Priscilla.
Oh, thanks so much. I had fun chatting.
All right, we'll stand by one moment. Amazon and YouTube, all the social media places, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. I have more authors coming this week. Bye, guys.